In this chapter we're going to talk about blogging. A blog is pretty much short for what we call a weblog, and it's really nothing more than a type of web page that features entries that provide like a commentary on a single subject or a particular genre like politics, religion, fashion, and so forth. Blogs are essentially nothing more than an online journal, and often written by one or more persons. Postings to blogs are not necessarily in any particular order, but rather reflect what the blogger, which is the term we use for the person who creates and maintains it, is thinking about at the time. A blog post, like you see here in the middle, is the text and images or videos that provide information to the blog readers. The post contains a title and the date they were posted to the blog site, and in most blogs they are listed in reverse chronological order. Down at the bottom here you see blog comments, and these are written commentaries left by readers pertaining to a certain post. Not all blogs allow comments, and they're either typically displayed directly below the post, or they might be accessed from a link found at the bottom. Over here on the right you see the blog archives, and this is a list of posts of the to the blog by date and potentially by topic that you see there. Types of blogs typically include personal, political, social awareness, media, and corporate. A personal blog is something that's just created by a single person, and that's typically the most common form of blog that you'll see on the web. They're a lot like a personal diary, and the author shares their thoughts on a particular subject, or in some cases anything that they can think of, in a running commentary type format. A lot of personal blogs have a specific purpose, keeping family and friends informed of something in the blogger's life, giving opinions on social and political issues, and informing the readers of a hobby the blogger might have. A political blog is typically something that you have been seeing in the news lately. Political candidates discovered the power, the communication through blogs during the campaigns after the 2004 presidential election, and they've continued to be influential today. And if you remember from our Shift Happens video from last week, President Obama actually used it to raise money. Social awareness just brings awareness to some nonprofit organization. A media blog, this is something that if you go to any of the major media outlets, you will see that they are allowing on most of their articles to have a blog format with comments at the bottom. And a corporate blog is one that belongs to a business they use to inform their customers. A blog that's considered to be successful has 5 main characteristics. They are updated frequently, and if it's a topic type of blog, they tend to stay on the topic. They have a professional look. They're innovative. They connect with other people. This is where the commenting comes into play. Blogs that allow readers to interact with the author tend to be more successful, and they become indexed, and blogs will only get visitors if people can find it, and having your blog indexed in search engines and blog directories will help people find your blog. If you're blogging about restoring, say, a 1968 Mustang, you certainly want your site to appear in the results list when someone searches for 1968 Mustangs. When you plan a blog, you want to take a look at a couple of questions here. What's your topic? Although you don't necessarily have to have a topic, if you give careful thought to the areas your blog will encompass, that will allow you to narrow down your topic and get it indexed like we talked about. What will you call your blog? You need to select a title. Catchy titles tend to attract more visitors. Choosing your URL and finding out what that is. How often will you post? Kind of come up with something that's pretty predictable. Will you accept comments and posts written by other users? So you need to kind of sit down and take a look at these questions and figure out where you're going to go with your blog. There are many sites up on the web that allow you to create blogs. Blogger.com is a site that's owned by Google, where anybody can set up a free blog. In the following exercises that you're going to go through in the chapter, you're going to set up your first blog using Blogger. There are many other commercial sites that give a lot of flexibility, but typically those require you to pay some type of a fee with that. When you go in to use Blogger.com, you're going to create a Google account. If you already have a Google account, you can kind of skip this step and move straight on to creating your blog. As you go through, you're going to have to name and theme your blog. The name of your blog is going, like we said, is going to help define your topic. You can always change it later if you don't like it. The URL for your blog is going to be very important as well, because this is what folks are going to type into their browser's address box. So give some thought to that and make it easy to remember. There's an availability button there, so you can check and see if that name is there. To make setting up your blog easier, Google has set up a bunch of themes templates that allow you to kind of pick how your blog's going to look without a whole lot of effort there. Then you're going to go through and create your first post here. And you know, this is your own words. This is something that doesn't need to be canned, so to speak. You can speak your mind on a particular topic. As we go through the semester, you're going to each week from here on out post to your blog and on various topics, and it's perfectly okay to take a stand one way or another on that particular item. You can go in and actually edit previous posts. You know, after you publish a post, you might think of additional information, or you need to correct some spelling and errors of that nature. So kind of pay attention to how you edit a particular post in your blog. Labels and categories. When you get to this step, what labels and categories are going to be, labels are topics that are created by you to describe your blog post. You can create as many labels as you need to kind of categorize your blog. You should assign labels to every blog entry. You can tell from the screen capture here, this particular one is a little tip for college students concerning Microsoft Office, and they've labeled their categories as MS Office, Saving Money, and Software. So make sure that you do this for each of your posts. Blogging also gives you the ability to create or insert a poll or a link list, and these are what we call gadgets. And so part of the assignment is going to take you through and allow you to add these features to your blog. What you have here are some resources that you need to take a look at, daily blog tips, tips for new bloggers, and so forth. These are some things that will give you some ideas about what to do. The tips for new bloggers, this is a site that's specifically designed for folks who have never tried this out. It's hosted on Blogger. It hasn't been updated in a while, but it still contains a great deal of good information there.